What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing great, guys. How about you?
Good, good. Great to connect. What is your question?
I feel really good. I mean, I feel like I'm being very productive and I'm having an amazing time, amazing progress at work and doing all these things, my 9 to 5. But when it comes down to the end of the day, I'm just burnt and I can't give that mental bandwidth to my wife, to my other responsibilities at home. And I'm like struggling to find that balance.
Yeah.
And including, just with God and with everything, really. I have, there's this other responsibilities you have to do in life. But
yeah,
right now, I feel like I'm in a season where what I'm trying to focus on improving the welfare of my family and myself is requiring a lot of, and so, yeah.
Let me make sure I understand this correctly. So things are going well at work, but by the time you get done, you feel like you're on empty and you don't have anything left to give the family.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what if I told you that a lot of what you're experiencing is not what you are, not what your identity is, but just a habit that you have?
I mean, that would make my life a little easier, right? If it's a habit that I fix. And
well, let me ask you, do you have a morning routine?
So we have our daughter, which we're trying to get her to be more on a sleeping schedule. So that's been shot. It's been,
all right.
Yeah, I've used to get up at 5:30, listen to a book, go on a treadmill, wake up, lift some weights. But to the past month and a half, that's been wrecked because multiple nights waking up.
Okay, so let me ask you, do your wife take turns when your little one needs help, or are you both just shot?
So we just had the hard conversation where it's like, hey, honey, I need you to really take the lead and do this, at least during the week, and I'll help the weekends or whenever I got time off. And that's been better, but just the screaming and the crying is still a thing. And I think sometimes she struggles. She struggles. I guess I struggle waking up and then just providing that support. She needs me to run for a bottle, refill. Your dad, so you get it.
All right. Do you mind if I just shoot straight with you and talk from a space if I see you and I love you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So check it out. You had a morning routine, but because it's been difficult with your wife and baby, that's been shot. And that doesn't sound a whole lot different than when I get home at the end of the day, I don't really have the juju or the energy to do the things that I need to do. So it's like the best that I provide life is work and not my family. Because the reality is I'm not cultivating energy in the morning. I can't keep a morning routine because I have a reason, and a baby is not a reason, a wife is not a reason. You have a reason to not do that. And then you're kind of finding the exact same thing after work a little bit. And so you got to find a way, Vicente, to carve something out for yourself where you become this undeniable beast. For example, let's just say that you're going to take turns with your wife every other day in the mornings before whatever. So you get Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and those are your 4 days, and your wife gets the other 3 days, and those are your 4 days where you can have a morning routine. She's got the baby, and you're going to be you. So let's just say that you're successfully doing those days, but then on the off days, you're like, oh, well, I don't know what my baby's going to need. Is she going to cry? What's it going to look like? You got to build an at-home routine. Maybe you can't get up and go to the gym, but bro, you can do push-ups. You can do sit-ups. You have something you can do at home while you're waiting to see if the baby's going to cry. You can listen to an audiobook while you're waiting to see if the baby's going to cry. I would be going inward and saying, how do I become a relentless savage that cultivates energy for me no matter what the baby needs? And just say, well, I couldn't get in my car and go to the gym and do my 5:30 thing. It's like, no, you didn't get to do that, but did you build a backup routine? You see, this is not about your baby and wife. This is what kind of man are you expressing yourself as when hardship ensues, and building a routine that says, I am a savage, I'm undeniably me, I'm the king of this house, and of course I make the time to invest in me. And then, yeah, you know what? When the baby cries and it's my day and I'm on, I pause what I'm doing and I lovingly go in there and I take care of my child and I feel good about it. But you know what? I got her to sleep 15 minutes later and then boom, I'm back out, I'm doing my home gym routine, I got my bands out and I'm then taking care of business. There's an energy that I'm communicating here, and it's the same energy of building a routine. What happens when you get home from work? You might say, okay, my current habit when I get home from work is, what do? Walk me through what happens when you get home.
Get home, greet the fam, probably came back from a 45-minute commute or so. I'm just like, blah. So I did my best, did the audiobook on the way home and stuff. I get home, say, hey, honey, how's dinner? Do you need help there? And then I just play with my daughter for like 30, 40 minutes.
And then what?
Dinner, and then just, yeah.
All All right.
Either goes into a walk or it goes into, hey, I want to do this. Or my wife's telling me I want to do this, I want to do that. I guess I feel that's an excuse.
Why can't someone just give me the real step-by-step guide to building real wealth? Check it out. I wrote it. This book, Have It All, teaches the 5 ROIs that will cause you to become financially free, not in 40 years, 30 years, or 20 years. You can do it in a decade or less, but you need the secrets in this book, and they're nowhere else to be had. Click the link below, get a copy, and let me show you the 5 investments that will revolutionize your financial future. So first of all, just look at just even the way you spoke to me, what happened to your energy and how much it dropped when you describe your routine when you come home. Bro, you hate this routine. And first and foremost, there's an energetic choice that you're making there. But number 2, bro, who's in charge of your life? Yeah. So it's just like, wait, if you came to my home and we worked out in the morning and you did one of my 2-hour routines, within a half hour, you would be in stitches on the ground saying, this is so hard. I've never worked out so hard. This is freaking awful. I can't believe you do this every day. But if you did it for a week, you'd feel like you survived a gauntlet. If you did it for a month, you would say that was really hard and that sucks if that's that dude's life. By the end of the 2nd month, you'd say, wow, I'm getting real results. I kind of like this a little bit. By the 3rd month, you'd say, you know what? I think Krohn's onto something here. By the 4th month, you'd say, I think I want to keep this forever. And by the 5th month, you'd say, you can't take this from me. It takes 5 months to build a habit around a new energy and a new routine. Well, I would treat the first 3 hours that you're home the exact same way. It's like, all right, I'm going to pre-design how I do this. First of all, before I walk through the door, I get down and give myself 10 push-ups and I get myself into a hyped energy state. I always listen to this one song. It's my happy song. It gets me going. When I come through the door, I greet my family. I lift my wife up. I give her a kiss. I throw my kid in the air and boom, we're off to it. We're going to do this for 30 minutes. And here's how I get myself amped about it. And then we're going to do the meal and I get to do it this way. And this is the thing that gets me excited. And then afterwards, I'm the one that suggests we either go for the park or do the this or do the that. In other words, build a routine that you can choose to get excited about instead of, oh boy, here we go again.
I guess that's true. Like 100%, obviously you get the receipts, but I spend majority of my time right now in the creation, like create this, do this, start from scratch, modify this. My brain is literally tired. So you're saying by
No. Listen, bro, listen very carefully. I want you to understand the way God made you. God did not say Vicente's mind will be active for 8 hours and then it will be tired from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then only after he goes to bed, I'll make it functional again. It is a muscle. It is a muscle. What you're doing is you're giving me BS. It's called a bad story. And when we believe a story, we make the story true. All you're doing is inventing something that doesn't serve you so you have a cop-out and excuse to be a certain way. You know what I would say? Watch this story. You know what? When I get home, I give myself 20 minutes. And this is how I refresh myself, or this is what I do to nurture myself. Maybe I go sit out, in the backyard, take my shoes off, and I put my feet and plant them in the sod until I can feel the wet soil, and I meditate for 20 minutes, or, and after 20 minutes, it's amazing. My mind is back, and I'm creative, and I'm excited, and I'm ready to go. That's also just called a story. And the reality is you get to choose the story and you get to choose what the story means. All you have right now is a very common new dad story. Because bro, being a dad with little ones is hard. And that's also a story. And so we were meant, you and I, we were created to transcend lame, low vibration, weak ass stories into something strong and powerful. And that's the difference between a boy and a man. A boy will give into the excuses he's given, and a man will say, I created that excuse, never again, and then he becomes the king. So my question is, again, what are you gonna create that works for you?
Yeah, I'm gonna create that. I'm gonna create the dad and the husband. Yeah, I'm going to take action.
And your kids are going to change as they grow up. They're going to need different things as you get older. Your job is to invent a version of yourself that works for your family in the season that they're in. So when they're little, it's a lot more physical energy because they want to go outside and they want to run, they want to play. When they're teenagers, the whole game is different. They don't even want to see you. But when they do, you got to figure out how to get into their inner sanctum, how to get them to be vulnerable and open up. The game will keep shifting. You're only going to be playing this game for a few years. And so the question is, how do you beast yourself into a man that can conquest this game of this season? And then as the season changes, it's like, oh, my kids are older. They're in school now. That's cool. They're running around, doing it differently. Maybe I put my kids in sports after, and that's a different way that I play the game with them. So design yourself for the next 3 years to be a father that you're proud of. And just know this, man, energy is a choice, true or false. Take me at my lowest energy moment, and if a gun was put to my child's head, could I find energy, yes or no?
1000%, yeah.
And you and I don't need a gun. We were built with the ability to choose it. Now, I'm not saying be on all the time. You get to put in your rests. Maybe you need a cat nap. Maybe you need to do something that is restful and relaxing, and that's part of what you negotiate in your home. But bro, between 5 and 10, you've got a lot of your time. You got hours in there where you can be on and then look back and be proud.
Yeah. Thanks, Kris. You do a lot of this, and if you got to go, you got to go. But at some point, what's the energy coming off of this? Because you're like, man, I'm like trying to help these people. And in my life, I actually have a lot of dudes specifically who reach out to me and would just pour their hearts out. And I want to be there for them. And I am there for them. I try to be their brother and the best of my abilities. And sometimes, man, I don't feel like I can give them that. You know what I mean? Like I feel afterwards like that strained out of like, how do you recharge, or what's your perspective on that?
Well, for me, the reason why I asked about your morning routine is because my morning, I get up at 4:45 a.m. I've got a routine that runs till 9 a.m. And what I do for those 4 hours and 15 minutes sets the tone and the energy for my entire day. So a lot of people will say, well, Kris, your morning routine is excessive. And I'm like, well, actually, you don't know what it's doing for me. For example, this morning I did 45 minutes of Qigong. That's an ancient Chinese medicine form that I leveraged to cultivate and build energy and literally put energy. After that routine, my body was shaking because I had so much energy in it. People are like, where do you get energy? I've got energy for days. First, it's a choice, and then two, it's an activity that I do to put energy in my body. I went to the gym and I worked out. If I work out really hard, for the next hour, I'm going to be tired, and then boom, I'm going to be filled with energy because I pushed myself to a limit. I'm going to read a book so that my mind gets smarter. So a morning routine, I think, is the strategy of where I like to go to get energy for the day. And then, of course, dude, when you're home from work, you've got to find a new strategy. 6 years ago, when my kids were becoming teenagers, I made a critical decision because I was in my slump. And my kids would often ask me for things and I would say no, like, Dad, will you do this with me? And I'd look at my schedule and my schedule would say no. And I realized I was becoming a no dad. And so I made a rule for myself. If I can, I must. If my kids ask and I can, I have to say yes. And now my children from the last 6 years are like, dude, I've got the coolest dad. Dad always says yes when I want to go on a date or have time with them or whatever. Dad's just always there. That only happened because I made a decision. I think the most important decision that you're about to make, Vicente, is energy is a choice. And if I choose I have energy, I've got it. If I choose that my mind feels better, I got it. We are so much more capable than we give ourselves credit for. And at the same time, know your limits and know when it's time to not be on, know when it's time to nurture yourself or to rest or say no to a brother that would love your wisdom, but bro, you don't have any more to give. And that's okay too.
Right. Yeah. Thanks. No, I mean, that really hits home, man. I really do appreciate you. And ever since we did this big breakthrough, went to your event, and I told myself I got to stop hiding, and went on this diet, started doing things I can't do. And all distractions is like, honestly, miracles come in my life because I made the decision to stop hiding. Yeah. And then now, I guess it's not a problem, but it's a challenge that I'm going through right now. It's just like, how am I handling all this? And now that's my challenge, handling all these.
And it's one decision that will change everything for you. That quote, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Your thinking basically makes it so. So challenge your thinking, literally level up your game where it feels right, level up your morning routine, and then level up your energy choices. You got this, man.
Thanks, brother. Really appreciate it. Really, really do. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely, Vicente. Thanks for hopping on.